Welcome back. I think it's time for us to write a proper rank function that we can use with our SmartBrain API so that in here, perhaps we can have a little emoji icon that will show up based on the count. And we're using right now Lambda for a simple exercise, but I hope your imagination is running wild right now with all the things you can do with Lambda. It is so cool and so interesting. I definitely want to see some creative implementations that people have with the SmartBrain app or with your own app. I would love to see and hear what you've done with Lambda functions. Definitely post it in our community chat because I love all these things and how creative people can get with it. Now, in here, I'm going to do something fun. In this function, I'm going to have a little emoji set that I've created. And these emojis are going to be our ranking system. This is where you start off with, you keep growing, you keep growing, you keep growing until you get to the rocket ship, the best rank of all. Now, what should we do? Well, first off, let's put this outside of the function actually. And I'll leave it like that just to show you that we can have things outside the function. And inside of here, before we send out the response, I'm going to have a const rank. And this rank is going to equal event.query string parameters. And you're asking, whoa, where did you just get that from? Well, if we go back to our event, or we don't have it anymore, let's grab the endpoint from here and paste it in here and add 1, 2, 3 in here in the parameters. Whoop, that's not what we wanted to do. Make sure we don't have the get request in here. Let's try that again. And in here, if I go to query string parameters, we see that we're able to have the query strings of our API endpoint. So we're going to send the entries count through this parameter, and we're going to access it on the Lambda function. So I'm going to say from here, from the query strings parameter, I'm going to grab the rank. And I'll show you how we do that shortly. Now from here, let's create another function that's going to be called rank emoji. And this rank emoji is going to do a simple little function for us. We'll just say emojis or a little logic for us. If the rank is greater than the emojis dot length, so that is whatever the rank or the entries count of the user is, if it's larger than our length, which looks like we have about 9. If it's bigger than that, we'll just return the latest or the rocket ship badge. So if that's the case, I'm going to say, and yes, we're doing a little funny syntax here. Remember, emojis is just an array, and we're doing a little bit of a logic inside of the array. It can get confusing, but it's nice shorthand for now. I hope you can follow along. Let's say that for that case, we're going to say that emojis dot length -1. That is, get the latest badge. Otherwise, just give whatever rank we have. If you have 0 entries, you'll get this one. If you have 1 entries, you'll get this one. 2 entries, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So let's save. And then finally, in our response object, we're going to, instead of the input being the event, we're just going to return the rank emoji that we care about. So ideally, we get an emoji out of this. Let's save and run deploy here. Now, I want this for production. So I'm going to change the tag now, if I scroll up, to prod, just to see what happens. And I'm going to run SLS deploy. And while that's happening in the background, we're going to work on the front end of our app, of our SmartBrain app. But I want to go over this one last time. We have an array of emojis, and all we're doing is, based on the query string parameters that we get from the endpoint, that is going to be the rank of our entries, our user's entries, we're going to just return a rank emoji based on the order that we have in the array. We're simply receiving an input with the rank emoji. So while that's being served up, I'm going to go back to my front end. Looking at our app, actually, we want to have something in here next to our rank. So I'm going to go into our rank component, which luckily we already have. And in this rank component, we see that we're just logging out entries, and that's about it. Let's add our emoji to this component. Actually, before we start touching this, let's make sure that our Lambda function works as intended. I'm going to go back. We see that, all right, we have a new endpoint. You see that it's now prod, as in production. And we can grab this endpoint and test out what we get. I'm going to copy and paste. And in here, because we're waiting for query string parameters, that means we have to do a question mark for query strings. We're going to say that the rank equals, we'll just give it, let's say, 4. Now, remember where we're getting this from. If we go back to our function, we have the query string parameters and we're grabbing the rank property. If I name this to something different, like emoji, well, in that case, I'll have to use emoji over here after the question mark. But let's give that a go. Look at that. Let's make that a little bit bigger to celebrate. We got the little winky face. Our serverless function is working. And if we change this to, let's say, 400, we get the rocket ship. We got the rocket ship badge. And if we change this to 0, smiley face, we got to work on our rank here. How awesome is that? And how simple was it to just deploy a function to Lambda, to Amazon servers, and now we have access to it. Absolutely amazing. I love Lambda. I hope you're getting excited. In the next video, we're going to implement this in the front end. I'll see you in that one. Bye-bye.